when we were talking about the offseason, it was like, yo, what's the Celtics going to do? They got Jaylen Brown on the books. They got Jason Tatum on the books, Drew Holiday, Porzingis. Well, they get two of those players off of their books. Porzingis is sent to the Hawks, which some are saying under our comments that means Trae Young is actually staying. They're not going to trade him. And then they get Drew off the books to the Blazers, Anthony Simons, who is on an expiring deal. And it's already reports that Drew does not want to stay in Portland, which we will talk about where he could possibly go and what teams should be trying to trade for Drew. It's a steep contract, but we will get to that one. Celtics, with these moves, do you feel that they are back in that contention mix going into the next season?
I do like the Anthony Simons move. You get off of that Drew Holiday contract, which I don't think was going to age that well. Like he's starting to hit that decline a little bit as far as his production and stuff. And you take a gamble with Simons. It's an expiring contract, so you can sign him after this. You don't have to. You freed up a bunch of cap space, and then getting off of Porzingis, which I mean he helped them these last couple seasons, but the guy gets injured too much. And in this new NBA with the CBA structure to penalize teams that go over that second apron, they had to shed some of these contracts. Even if they didn't want to trade Porzingis, it was going to happen at some point. So um, I'm curious what they do next. If they just keep Jaylen Brown, or do they finally, make the move to separate the two guys, him and Tatum. So that's something that could happen in the summer. I'd watch out for that too. Um, I wouldn't hold that against Brad Stevens. I mean, he traded Marcus Smart, who was a fan favorite, and Jaylen Brown is beloved in Boston. But as a GM, you have a job to do for the franchise. If you believe this can benefit you and prolong your window per se, then you got to make a move. And from what I'm hearing, a lot of teams are offering some crazy deals for Jaylen Brown because that's an All NBA talent. So you'll be able to get a lot of assets for him. Um, so I'm interested to see what else the Celtics have up their sleeves. I mean, they've been real busy this week. It's only 1 week. Just wait until the off season starts.
Hey, so Greg, I'm gonna ask you this. Um, just was tweeted recently. Eddie Gonzalez says, that Jaylen Brown for Giannis, 2:37 a.m. Shams tweet at the end of the Celtics moves is going to rock me to my core. Do you think, like Miles was saying, we've seen some of the craziest trade rumors for Jaylen Brown? Do you think that the Celtics pull that trigger, and that if they do, that Giannis actually puts them back in championship contention, just adding Giannis?
I think he was being hyperbolic. He was because we saw Luka trade, and even though Luka wanted to be in Dallas for the rest of his career, just like Giannis wants to be in Milwaukee for the rest of his career, it doesn't mean that he's going to stay there. It doesn't mean that they're going to keep him. They're going to do whatever they feel is best for them at any given time. That being said, uh, I personally think anything could happen this offseason. I wouldn't put it past Boston if they move Jaylen Brown. I think that has always been on the table. I think we've been talking about that for years. Like Miles just said, splitting up that pair, and now that they've lost that series, now you're going to be a year without Jason Tatum as well. Maybe it's time. This is the time to rebuild and reshape that Boston Celtics team around him, around Jason Tatum, since that's your guy, which is a choice. But I will say, I did love the Anthony Simons move. I thought it was really a slick trade by Brad Stevens. I've always been a fan of Anthony Simons. I think he just played in obscurity for so long that people just weren't paying attention. He's one of the most talented players in the NBA, one of the most talented guards, young guards in the NBA. And then I think playing on a bigger stage in Boston, you're gonna hear a lot more about him and how gifted of an offensive player he is. We're gonna have to see if he can commit to the defensive side of the ball, but he certainly is athletic enough to do so. So I really like that move for them, and the getting the picks as well. Getting some assets in return too. I think that's a great move for them. I think they came out smelling pretty good with that move. But yeah, man, I think a Giannis trade for me is not off the table. I think it could easily still happen. I know Giannis said he wants to stay. I'm not ruling anything out in today's NBA, where we're talking about we're talking about the second apron and the CBA and how restrictive it is. It's easily within the realm of possibility that a team like Milwaukee decides, you know what, we're not going to be able to build around this guy without trading him because we've got Damian Lillard, who's an untradeable asset on our books, and we don't have many other assets on the roster to really trade and build for him. So we should just move him, get a treasure trove of assets, and start again. The same way the Nets did when they traded KD. Granted, it was against their will, but it's restarted the franchise, and now you're in a different space. You got picks, you got a future. Maybe that's what Milwaukee decides to do. It's very much within the realm of possibility. It would gut the fans, but you know what? Once another guy does it, once Nico does it and keeps his job, maybe you'll feel more emboldened to make a decision like that. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see them make a trade like that. Jaylen Brown for Giannis swap. It doesn't save them any money if you're the Celtics, but it sure as heck makes you a lot more competitive. You're probably going to win a championship if you pair up Jason Tatum and Giannis. That'd be ridiculous. So yeah, it's far fetched. I think he was Eddie was just talking, but you never know. His bestie is very connected to what's going on in the NBA. So we'll see.